when you're consuming things that's not good for your health, mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, it shows up in three ways. All right, welcome back. So, this week we are talking about our consumption. What are we taking in? The reason we are talking about this is because one thing I realized is that when I started making changes in my life, it wasn't something I just woke up and said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm waking up, I'm changing." That's it, right? It was in the little steps, and we've talked about this already. We've talked about the little steps build momentum, but it was more so about my intake. I realized what I was consuming different things, allowing myself to be around certain things or people, also made an impact in where I saw greater change. And it sparked this episode for me because looking back, yes, I had the heart and the intention to do so. I played out the little steps that can help me build out the big steps. But I also changed the things that I was consuming, the things that I allowed myself to be around. So that is what today's episode is. And I want to start the episode off with this, just putting this out there. Your self improvement journey, becoming living proof of the life of your dreams, living proof of a loving God, will always be an external manifestation of your internal work, your internal improvement, what you do internally. And I thought about the hungry caterpillar, that story, right? If you don't know, the caterpillar eats so many different things, right? Just eating, just eating, just eating, just eating. And then it goes into this cocoon and it comes out as a butterfly. But what it was eating was building it up to become that butterfly. It was building nutrients. So when you look at what you're consuming, not just food wise, is it helping you bloom into the butterfly, bloom into living proof, or is it just garbage that's keeping you the same, right? So starting off, of course, your consumption will always reveal sooner or later. Sometimes you can get away with the jokes. Sometimes you get away with the gimmicks of getting away with eating junk food. But sooner or later, it's going to show up. And when we think about it in a physical way, of course, when you're eating, let's think about the person that's eating out every day. They're not eating good food. They're not taking care of their health. It shows up in their weight, right? But when you're consuming things that's not good for your health, mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, it shows up in three ways. And I think of it as a domino effect. So first, it's going to show up in your mindset. Your mindset, the way you think, is going to change. Maybe you start believing the limiting beliefs of family members or society or whatever the case may be. Maybe you start thinking, you start having a lack mindset because that's what you start consuming and that's what you allow yourself to be around 24/7. After mindset, it's going to show up in your actions because we've talked about this before. Your mindset leads to your actions. Some people don't know why they self-sabotage. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's your mindset. You never addressed your mindset. So then you take this self-sabotaging actions and then you're like, wait, I don't know why. Mindset, right? And then you already know it. The third one is going to be beliefs. After so long, when you have a poor mindset, a poor diet mindset, guess what? The actions are going to keep showing up. Your actions become habits. And then over time, it becomes a belief. The belief, yeah, I was never good at that. I never could really learn new things. Oh, that's not for me. I'm just not the type of person that can start a business. A belief that probably started with a crummy mindset that led to crummy actions, self-sabotaging actions, people-pleasing actions, and now you're making it your entire story. You're basing your entire life off of it. So like I said, sooner or later, because like I said, some people can get away with it. Some people can get away with eating the junk food for 5 to 6 years, but then year seven shows up and then it's like, what the heck? Or, gotta use my degree, guys. Gotta use my degree. Or it shows up in ways that's not as obvious. So, two people are eating out every day, poor habits, poor diet, all of this stuff. One person gains weight, the other is like, I'm still in tip top shape. I can still do this. Hey, look at me. But then you go to the doctor and you have atherosclerosis. If that is a very big word, if you don't know what that is the buildup of plaque in your arteries. That is what leads to heart disease. That is what leads to so many different things that's going to cause trouble and ailment in your life later down the road. It's not a quick process, it's over time where you might need some stents or surgeries, all this stuff, right? Leading to, I don't know if you know this, but your heart's important. Your arteries, all that stuff, they're important. So when they have a buildup of plaque and gunk from years of getting away with, I can have this poor diet. I can consume things that aren't good for me because the outside still looks good. Maybe not. So think about it in your life spiritually. Maybe you're just consuming complete mess, things that's not good for you. I think about, if you know about the armor of God, you don't have your armor up, or your armor up, right? And you're just allowing yourself to be around anything and everything, right? And then you're wondering, oh, like I don't understand why everything just happens to me, and oh, my life is just, I'm just attracted to negativity, and all bad things are just happening to me, all this stuff, right? Well, you probably have been around people who always say that. I went to a period where all I did was spend time with people who talk bad about themselves. Luckily, I never picked up the habit, but I had to distance myself and back up from that because that's all that they would do and talk about. Oh, I'm just attracted to bad things. Nothing ever works out good for me. This, that, and the other. And I'm just like, is this a belief now? Like, do you genuinely believe that? Versus when I started diving into my word more and more and more, first and foremost, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I got more vigilant and more aware of the things that what I allowed off my tongue, but also around what other people were saying. I'm not going to control what you say. I might try to uplift you as a friend, but at the same time, if someone is just speaking anything and everything over their life, spiritually, I just can't be there. Physically, I can't be there. Mentally, I can't be there, right? Because it's important that you are consuming things that's going to uplift and build you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Did I say all of them? You know what I mean. So for me, it was diving into my word more, seeing God's truth, seeing how speaking life over my life and my life, the lives of the lives. What am I saying? Over the lives of my friends and family. I was trying to merge friends and family, right? So speaking life over them, uplifting them, praying over them, praying for good health and sound mind, praying for good health and sound mind over myself, my fiance, my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, all these people, right? That's where I started to see a change in my life, a change in my mindset as well. That even when I was going through trials and tribulations, there was a small point where I'd be like, oh, everything just doesn't work out for me, or I will beat myself up, but really I'm like, no, I know what I can do. I can go open my Bible and know that God's got me through it all. I know that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So I started to change even when I went through things, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but having a relationship with God doesn't mean you're not going to go through things. But it changed my mindset when I did go through them. I was more resilient. I showed up in a different place. My mindset was different. Therefore, my actions were different. My mindset changed, and I knew that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I knew that God said that He commanded His angels to lift me up so that my foot shall not strike a stone. I remember that He said that because I declare He is my fortress and refuge, that my tent would be unharmed. So my mindset went to those things. My actions went from wallowing or self-pity to resilience and seeing how I can step up. What's in my control that I can fix, I can change, I can show up for, I can pray, right? And now my belief system is completely different. So that's how it showed up for me spiritually. Physically, let's be honest. The mindset for me at one point, I went from, oh, I only look good, or I'm only doing good when I show up in this way, shape, or form, when I'm in this performative act in life, people pleasing, self-sabotaging ways, trying to be a perfectionist, right? All of these, this could be physical and mental too, because they went hand in hand. But all these things, that was a very hard belief that I'm still working at. I'm very transparent with you guys. I'm still working at that every single day. But when I started, one, reading some self-help books, again, reading the Bible, that's the best self-help book I've read so far, but indulging in things that is uplifting me, show, maybe surrounding myself around people who are uplifted and celebrated and accepted for who they are authentically, not a performative act. I started hanging around more people who actually went through the people pleasing phase, and now they're living in their truth and they're thriving more than ever. Yeah, they were successful when, they did what everyone expected of them, what they thought society said they had to do. But now they're seeing blessings tenfold, and the biggest blessing of it all is that they're being genuine to themselves. They're living in the purpose that God has created for them. And to know that the riches is so much greater beyond material, that started to put a change on me mentally. I started hanging around authentic people. I started showing up and doing things and dabbling in things that I was genuinely interested in. That's why I got into aerial. It was something I always wanted to do, but no one around me was doing it. Like I said, like I remember when I told a friend I wanted to try aerial, and first and foremost they were like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, like the people that swing from stairs." They're like, "So a circus act? Like you want to be in a circus?" Like, and that was like the only correlation to it. I'm like, no, but I want to try this. And at first, I didn't try it just because, one, I didn't put in the work to see to find it around me. Another reason why I didn't try it was because I didn't have validation. I didn't have the validation that other people were doing it. I didn't have the validation that it was something cool to do. I didn't have validation that I should go out and seek this out, right? So it took, as you guys know, like a moment where I just was so sad and all this other stuff. I just got up and booked the aerial class, and here I am now. I'll post a video from my first aerial class to what, almost 4 years later, and I love it. I'm now interested in becoming a teacher and helping other people grow into their journey, right? But all this is saying that my mindset started changing about how I can show up for myself physically. My mindset started changing about what I was capable of physically. I never knew anything about starting a business. I have business owners in my family, but it wasn't something we sat around a table and talked about the life of an entrepreneur. So here I am, just out of nowhere. I just didn't like my job. I knew I was working in my field, but I was like, I get paid $12 to stretch someone for 60 minutes, right? Versus and then it was like a cookie cutter routine. So I have to do the same routine on everyone. So people will come in and be like, oh, it's my back, and oh, it's my hamstrings, and oh, it's my quads. And I have to give you the same exact routine for everybody. And I get paid $12 for that. Versus I was like, I know the body. I can give you a 45-minute session on your lower body region if you need it. I can give you a 45-minute session on your upper body or the surrounding parts that's leading to something that's causing pain and impingements in your shoulders. Maybe, okay, I'm looking at the hips, but I realize, oh, it's all starting from your ankle, your feet, your ankles is moving its way up, and that's why we're looking at XYZ in your hips, which is going to eventually shoot up to your shoulders. And I can be specific and help this person that is specific to their body. And respectfully, it won't be $12, right? Well, I started my business. And little by little, my mindset was changing. I was surrounding myself around people who were showing me that it's okay to show up authentically as you, to show up in God's purpose, to pursue it, to just take that leap of faith. So my actions started leading to it. I started a business. I started aerial. I started so many different things. I started posting content on social media. I started a podcast. And and now my belief is different. My belief is if I can put my mind to it, it's possible for me. My belief is, well, this is based on truth, but God has given me the ability to produce wealth, so I can start another business. I can do this. I can. That's what my belief is, and my actions show it, and my mindset was the root of it. So these are ways that it showed up in my life, but for you, let's break it down. Mindset. It's what you think about yourself. It's what you think about yourself, the opportunities that you're worth. Are you worth being in this room? Are you going through imposter syndrome? All these things, right? What you're capable of. And then from there, we domino over to action. So if it's not in the right place, if your mindset's not aligned in the right place of living proof, then we're looking at things like self-sabotage. We're looking at things like perfectionism. We're looking at things like self destruction. We're looking at things like playing small. We're looking at things like negative self talk. We're looking at things like only staying in our comfort zone because we don't believe we belong outside of it. We believe it's dangerous. We're looking at things and being in places that don't serve us or our purpose, right? And then we have these beliefs. The beliefs that, one, your your beliefs that lead you to not living your potential, beliefs that have your dreams deferred, beliefs that that you need to conform to the world to live, that the only way you can live and find a sliver of hope is to conform of the way of this world and society, right? Becoming a shell of yourself, living someone else's dream. It may not be someone else's dream, just being passive with your life. And so your belief is going to be that wired, hardcore pattern that you have. They can be undone, but a belief is after some time of with that habit and after some time with that mindset. So this is why it's important that what you're consuming is something that you're intentional about, something that's uplifting you, something that is going to feed and nourish the goal. If the goal is to play small, then keep it up. But if the goal is to become living proof, then we have to change what we're consuming. For me, like I said, I had to cut out, I wasn't watching too much of it, but even a little bit of trash TV. I was unfollowing Instagram pages or TikTok pages that were just full of gossip or nothing that was uplifting. I replaced that with reading. I became a reading fanatic at one point. Just want to read. I changed that with, I just wanted to work on my mind. So I bought like little puzzles and stuff to do. I read self-help books. I dove more into the Bible. I changed who I surrounded myself around. I started signing up for entrepreneur summits and things like that. Places and rooms that I never thought I belonged in, but I put myself in. I said yes to opportunities that really opened doors for me. And so what I was consuming made a difference, and also how much I was consuming it. I'm not going to sit here and say I stopped watching TV. I gave you guys a whole list of my TV shows. Like I love me some movies. I am a Marvel fanatic. I love it, right? But how much time I spent with it changed. My time of learning things. Oh my goodness, I have a Udemy account, I have a Skillshare account, learning new skills. I learned how to edit. I didn't go to a course or anything like that. I not downloaded. I made an account for Skillshare. I absolutely love it. This is not even a sponsored video, but I love Skillshare because I learned how to edit. I learned how to create certain things. I've learned some programming things on Skillshare, and now I'm working on new things with Skillshare. There's a gardening, a gardening Skillshare class that I'm signed up for. There's some more editing things I want to work with, other softwares. I've learned YouTube tips for editing, YouTube editing tips, things like that. I have learned so much on Skillshare, and it's like a limitless library. But these are the things I chose to consume. So even though I still enjoy my time with Sims and I still enjoy my time watching my shows and things like that, I made time for what I wanted to learn and what I wanted to become because I knew that again, like I said, all life is an external all self improvement is, or your life, or what you are right now is just an external manifestation of what you are internally doing, the internal work that you're doing. If you're doing no work, then we know what you look like externally. You can play it off as long as you need to, but at some point, like I said, sooner or later it reveals itself. And so these are things that I'm doing, and it was just important that I spoke to you guys about this. It was important that I cover your input to output ratio. Because sometimes you look at your output and you're like, my life is not what I wanted to be. I don't understand what's going wrong. Have you backed up to what you're putting inside? What are you putting inside of yourself? What are you allowing yourself to be around? It is the very same thing as, like I said, with food. When you eat your fruits and your veggies in a balanced diet, you have more energy versus you spent the day before eating candy and junk food and now you feel sluggish. Now you're breaking out. You can't figure out why. Skincare can only take you so far with a poor diet. And these are ways that it's going to show up without being as obvious, like gaining weight, right? And so it's just important that you be mindful of what you are consuming. Do an audit. I have the audit journal for you guys. You can download it for free. I want you guys to have free content or free tools so that you could actually become living proof and create that lasting self-improvement that you really want. So do an audit the things that you're consuming. Maybe you're consuming a toxic friend. Maybe you're consuming a toxic environment. Maybe your habits are not conducive to the living proof lifestyle that you dream about all the time, that you can't figure out how to get there. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's your consumption. And then, like we said before, add what's needed, subtract what's not, multiply what's working. It's a simple math equation. At this point, life is a simple math equation, a couple of them. All right, guys, and I pray that one thing from this episode resonates from you. I pray that you hear this episode and you double check what you're consuming. You double check what you're putting inside to make sure it's aligning with an outcome of your desires, of becoming living proof of a loving God and living proof of the life of your dreams. Of course, next episode, we're going to have those tips. We're going to talk about ways that I have changed my consumption or made my consumption better, or just overall tips, guys. So until next time, have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, wherever I'm catching you at. And until next time, I'll catch you later.